of many people, and we've got quite a bit of business to get done today. So with that, we're going to call the meeting to order at 6:17, and I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Commissioner Cavell. Here. Commissioner Gershenson. Here. Commissioner Gingell. Commissioner Hoffman.
Present.
Commissioner Jackson.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Joliet.
Here.
Commissioner Long. Commissioner Lubes.
Here.
Commissioner Markham.
Here.
Commissioner McGillivray.
Here.
Commissioner Miller.
Blessed to be here.
Commissioner Nelson. Here. Commissioner Powell. Here. Commissioner Rahman.
Present.
Commissioner Smith Charles.
Present.
Commissioner Spiz.
Present.
Commissioner Weipert. Here. Commissioner Woodward.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
All right, with a quorum established, the invocation this evening will be led by the Honorable Vice Chair Marsha Gershenson, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Gershenson.
Good evening, everyone. When I started planning for my invocation, I was excited that it was during Black History Month. But as I began my planning, it was before the needless, cruel violence at Michigan State. Seeing the pictures of Alexandria, Ariel, and Brian, reading about their lives, their potentials, filled me with grief that their families and loved ones and friends are feeling now. So please hold in your heart Alexander or Alex, Ariel, and Brian, three more beautiful young students who lost their life while attending college and planning for their future. This list has grown since last year when we were all reeling from the senseless deaths of Justin, Hannah, Madison, and Tate. How many more? How many more names will be added to this list of beautiful children killed by gun violence? As I ask you to say never again to the racist history of Black Americans, I also ask you to think about what each of us can do to end this horrible cycle of violence that we are all caught up in. To honor Black History Month, both caucuses received a shoebox that is symbolic of Black perseverance and stories to keep the history of Black Americans alive. Patrick Coleman, the owner of the Cornbread Restaurant on Northwestern in Southfield, began producing the cardboard boxes about 5 years ago, and they highlight the many contributions of African Americans. It's a homage to his mother and grandmother, who were not allowed to eat in train dining cars during the Jim Crow era. So Coleman's grandmother would fill the shoeboxes with homemade food for her family that provided travelers a means of self-sufficiency and dignity. Coleman said, "My grandmother couldn't walk into a restaurant in the South, and now I own a restaurant." This box was about resolve and resourcefulness. So with this tribute to Black History Month, let us all stand together against racism, anti-Semitism, and violence, and continue to do our best to build and contribute to a world where all faiths can call upon us to be builders of harmony. And let us say, Amen, Shalom, Salam, and Shanti. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Vice Chair Gershenson, for those words. Lifting up the thoughts of those taken from us and a tribute to so many that contribute to this great county. We'll move on to approval of the minutes. And so moved by Commissioner Lube, seconded by Commissioner McGillivray. I'll just know you might need to refresh. There was one item that was on the agenda that went through committee that dealt with the Mentor Plus. I don't know if we got to address it in the Democratic caucus, but I know people involved in it, and I believe the clerk's office came to the Republican caucus. So we're taking that item off that talks to preserving it, and we've bought ourselves some time, and we got work over the next month and a half to find a long-term solution. So we're going to hold on taking action on that at this juncture. Any further discussion on the agenda? Seeing none. All in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect that the agenda is adopted unanimously. And this will bring us now to communications. And first up, we have a proclamation. I'll call on Commissioner Cavell.
Table of agenda.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry. We did, well, I moved the agenda first. So now I need to go back. Hold just a second. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from January 26, 2023? Moved by Commissioner Gingell, seconded by Commissioner Markham. Any discussion on the minutes? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Let the record reflect that the minutes were approved unanimously. Did those items in reverse. That brings up communication and Commissioner Cavell to recognize the service and life achievements of Mr. Earl Burton. Commissioner Cavell.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to read a proclamation in honor of Earl, so if any of you want to come up and take a paragraph from me, I'd appreciate it in support of him. And while y'all are working your way up here, can I have Earl's supporters and family come on up too to stand with us?
I'll help you read.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, yeah, go you. Yeah, we're gonna have to squeeze in.
Oh, wow. That's great.
What else here? Hey.
Oh, wow. I looked up and everybody.
So first, thank you all for being here in honor of Earl. Okay, so whereas, in honor of the late Earl Burton, we join with all who knew and loved him to celebrate his life and contributions to our society. And
Whereas Mr. Burton was born in Detroit, Michigan, and was the youngest of 10 children, the son of Reverend George Lee and Gertrude Burton, he passed away on November 23, 2022. And
whereas through his relationships, energy, knowledge, and experience, Mr. Burton dedicated himself to fighting for the rights of those who are incarcerated. Although he spent much of his adult life in prison, Mr. Burton formed meaningful relationships while serving his time. He continued his education and took the highest paid position available to him, a legal writer. As a knowledgeable legal writer, he focused on finishing his time within the Michigan Department of Corrections and coming home to reunite with his family and get involved in community work.
Whereas Mr. Burton found his calling as a lead in Michigan Liberation's inaugural Black Mother's Day bailout, Earl and his team conducted bailouts and ensured that the recipients of the bailout got home safely and had support managing conditions of their release. He conducted court watching in suburban courts, exposed unfair practices, and helped in the development of the Detroit Justice Center's white paper, Highway Robbery, which was presented to the Oakland County Board of Commissioners. As the relational organizer with Michigan Liberation, Mr. Burton trained hundreds of people to use a relational text app, which allowed them to communicate with their friends and families about voting and elections. In addition, his efforts during the COVID-19 pandemic set the precedence for jail conditions across the country. And
no.
whereas Mr. Burton was an avid Detroit and Michigan sports fan, he was the proud father of Donson, and he found great love in being a grandfather to Daisha, Lanisha, DJ, LaRon, and Travis. And whereas we joined together with Mr. Burton's family and friends to honor and remember him, he will be sorely missed. Now, therefore, David T. Woodward, Chair of the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, and Commissioner Charlie Cavill, do hereby honor the life and memory of Earl Burton.
I just want to say real quick that I got to know Earl as an activist and organizer years ago, but when I became a county commissioner, I got the honor, thanks to all of you, to be on the Community Corrections Advisory Board. So it was interesting to see Earl in this different light. He was more serious, and I just was thinking the three things that I took away from Earl most is that he was very deliberate about meeting people where they were and raising their political consciousness. He was always speaking about justice in a way that people could relate to, and that was empathetic and compassionate. And he also, just being in positions of power, was honest, so he wasn't afraid to speak truth to that power. So I admire him for that, and he's a good guy. So anyone else want to say something?
Good evening, you all. I'm just looking around the room. Commissioner Jackson, Commissioner Nelson, Commissioner Powell, Commissioner Miller, Commissioner Woodward, when Michigan Liberation started in 2018, as a response to the listening we did at Doors to Hear there was a need for criminal justice change in Oakland County, Earl was our first member, and he remembered the Oakland County Jail as the Wayne County Annex when he grew up as a Detroiter, because the amount of black Detroiters that when crossing 8 Mile ended up in the hands of the criminal justice system. So I'm recognizing you all for believing in our idea, validating our idea, and making the referendum on criminal justice reform that we've done since we started possible. I know Earl was very moved and proud of all the work he was able to achieve in this place that wasn't such a friendly place to a lot of folks for a while. I know we'd be proud and smiling and happy that we're still showing up in deep numbers in this building. So yeah, thank you so much for honoring him and his work and legacy.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Booker T. I'm with Michigan Liberation, and in behalf of Earl Burton and showing respect to him and his family, I would just like to say that sometimes you have to go to the lowest depths to reach the highest heights, and that he believed, just like we do in Michigan Liberation, that those that most impacted receive less power and resources, and he brought that to the table. He illustrated through his life that although he spent most of his adult life, like myself, in prison, where I met him, in the back 40 and bringing it to the front 40 and becoming an asset in the community and not a liability. Change is always possible. And if we start looking at criminology as not bad people who need to be punished, but broken people who can be fixed, the trajectory will change.
All right, now we're going to take a picture, right, Sarah? All right.
Yeah, what's the truth, right?
Yeah. Nice to hear it sometimes, you know?
It's good to see you. I'm gonna give you my number. I'd like to be a part of that. I'm on here in that kind of Michigan advisory.
I'm taller than him, but he got me with the hair. No, you good. We good. Don't worry about it.
Ron, if I can just hop on your shoulder.
What?
What's up, man? I still got your picture. What's his name?
Agreed with this
Okay. Next, under some presentations, starting last year, we began the practice of celebrating Black History Month with recognizing individuals that rise up to symbolize and represent the leadership across this great county. And members of this board came together to establish the Black Excellence Award that commissioners are invited to participate in. So we have a number of presentations to recognize those leaders today. And I'm going to call on Commissioner Powell to begin this process. And we have, I believe we have 5 individuals that we're recognizing. Commissioner Powell.
Hi, thank you. Again, I am Oakland County Commissioner Angela Powell, and I govern portions of Pontiac and Bloomfield Township for our guests here in the room. And I just want to welcome our awardees and their guests, thank them for being here today. So thank you all for being here. So I was the driving force in starting this award along with our other minority commissioners, and then our commissioners as a whole supported this Black Excellence Award that we created. The Black Excellence Award was started in 2022 because we wanted to shine a light on those doing good things in our county. It has been important to me, even before I was a commissioner, to really lift up those unsung heroes in my own community, which I'm born and raised from the city of Pontiac. Plus, we also know that the history of minority groups and individuals tend to be overlooked and are still overlooked. So it's up to us to support our own and make sure we let this Oakland County know that Black excellence is alive here. So I'm very excited that we have a chance to present these awards during Black History Month. Tonight, we are honoring 5 individuals who were chosen out of nearly 24 nominations. These recipients were nominated by community members throughout Oakland County. They work in all different areas throughout Oakland County, but one thing remains constant. They are truly committed to making our region a better place. It's been an honor to learn more about all of our nominees. And so I'm going to get to it and kick off our first award. Before I bring up this young lady, me and her have worked in a lot of different arenas together, but I want to point this out and say thank you to Tamika Ramsey and also Kermit Williams, because I ain't gonna never forget, we were the first 3, and we was paving the way and trying to make our community better, and we're still doing it, but in a minute we're gonna have to hang up and retire. But I just wanted to thank you both, because we 3 was always together. Yeah, we may not agree on everything, but we all understood where our hearts is and what we're trying to do for our community. So I just want to say thank you all, because I look at you all too, I see what y'all doing, and it just keeps me to keep going, even though we know how our community can be. So let me tell you about this wonderful woman, Black woman at that, Tamika Ramsey. She's a Pontiac native and is the founder of T. Ramsey and Associates, a consulting firm that works primarily with nonprofit and micro enterprises. Under her direction, the firm leads its clients towards sustainability for communities they serve. Ramsey also serves as executive and co-director of regional and statewide social justice organizations, where she helps reshape how civic and social justice organizations are managed. She is a convener for Black Women's Roundtable, Metro Detroit, and the founding director for the Michigan Coalition on Black Civic Participation. Both organizations provide intergenerational leadership development, mentoring, and empowerment for Black men, women, and youth. She is also a member of the Pontiac Collective Impact Partnerships Executive Council and an organization driven by the vision that Pontiac is a community where everyone has equitable opportunities to drive. And this is actually a very short description of everything this woman has did for the city of Pontiac, Oakland County, and across this state of Michigan, especially for Black Americans all across Michigan. And now I would like to bring up my wonderful Tamika Ramsey.
So before you get to say something, this is my sister from another mother. We have been getting into good trouble for a very long time. Let it be known that this is a woman that has been at I've fought side by side on raising the minimum wage, extending paid sick time across, and for those who don't know, because she doesn't ever fight for the credit. If it wasn't for Tamika Ramsey, we wouldn't have had a transit millage on the ballot. And because of all the early support, she gave me the tools to be able to make it happen. For all the things that you've done, we love you. Thank you for doing everything you're doing here, keeping us real and calling us out when we fall off the path. So, love you. I love you.
Thank you.
Okay, you got a Grace.
Grace, you got a Grace. Come on. First of all, thank you so much for this. I tell people when I walk into the room, I am Black first. I am a woman second. I am a mother and a wife. I appreciate the accolades, but I do what I do for the survival of my family, for my children and my grandson, to be able to play and live and worship and be educated wherever they want in a safe manner. I appreciate the work that everybody here has done, and I am thankful and blessed to be a part of it. But I could not do this without my family support. My husband allows me to go across the country and fight. Thank you so much, Michael. My children understand and share their mother daily, and I appreciate the sacrifice that they make with me in allowing me to do the work that I do. But I just thank so much my county commissioner and the board chair for the amazing leadership that they both have shown me and pushed me. Mr. Woodward pushes me outside of my comfort zone a lot, and without him, I don't think I would be here. And Angie, I appreciate our friendship because when I'm ready to throw in the towel, you say, okay, cry, get over it, keep on moving, and I need that. Thank you. And before I bring up the next commissioners to present the next award, I did tell Tamika, and Tamika, I'm putting it on record, I still have a proclamation to give you. You've deserved it, and I would love to honor you that way as well. So you got one more coming. Thank you. Next, I'm going to invite Commissioner Jackson and Commissioner Markham to the podium for the next award.
Commissioner Markle. And I just want to say that, this is one of the best parts of this job is honoring those folks that do things above and beyond what they're asked and who are examples of good community citizens. And so thank you in advance. Please, I'd like to bring up Ebony Bagley. And you see that she was kind of familiar to this audience. It's like, she's no stranger. Ebony Bagley. And when I get done, please offer your comments, okay? Because same thing here, it doesn't capture nearly all of her accomplishments or accolades this evening. So make sure you brag on yourself. All right. As a resident of Novi and senior communications strategist for Act Blue, Ms. Bagley has dedicated the last decade to her community. As secretary and executive committee member of the Oakland County Parks Commission, she supports key decisions that impact Oakland County and its services. She is also the vice chair of the National Congress of Black Women, Oakland County, Michigan chapter, an organization that uplifts local women in community service and political and civic engagement, and a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, an international service organization and the oldest Greek letter organization established by Black college-educated women.
Ms. Bagley is also one of Oakland County's 40 under 40 2022 member. She was also was honored and is a CBS local TV producer and reporter, formerly, okay. And we are really lucky to have you here tonight.
Hi, everyone. Oh, good evening, everyone. I first want to thank the Board of Commissioners as well as Oakland County for honoring myself, but all of the other individuals as well. I've been a resident of Oakland County for a very long time, very, very long time, since I was a kid. And I've seen the change, I've seen the growth, I've seen how we have really worked to bring inclusion to this county. And I am proud and excited to be a part of the process through my work with the board, the Parks Commission, as well as just all of the work that I am able to do thanks to the support of this community. So I want to thank everyone, but most of all, I want to thank my family over there. Shout out to them because my two little kids, it's been a long day. Yeah, it's been a long day for especially the little one up back there. But, you know, I couldn't do this without the support of my husband, my family that is not here, including, you know, even my grandmother and my mom, all of them that, you know, couldn't be here today. Because they planted the seeds in me to know that I could be the change, that I was enough, that I didn't need to see it to believe it, I needed to believe in myself. And so I want to thank them because I know they're watching on YouTube, and everyone who's here and supporting this initiative. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, I get to do two. The next one, I'd like to invite Commissioner Gershenson up to join me for this one. Behind you. Hello. We're honoring Miss Nicole Cartwright. Tiffany Cartwright up. And this beautiful young lady fits with the previous beautiful young lady that we had up here, an entrepreneur, visionary, and someone who is working to make our community a lot better. Okay, Tiffany Cartwright. She is an entrepreneur with an inspirational story. Ms. Cartwright overcame the challenge of losing her job as Assistant Attorney General and Administrative Law Judge for the state of Michigan, following budget cuts to found Amara Products. This is her company, which makes all natural body scrubs without chemicals, additives, preservatives, and animal testing. She is a Bloomfield Hills resident.
She brought her line to the popular TV show Shark Tank, and now her Glam organic body scrubs are available through her own website as well as Walmart.com, Target.com, and in their retail stores. Ms. Cartwright now has plans to open a local manufacturing facility that employs women who are returning citizens or survivors of domestic violence or human trafficking.
Okay, yeah. Ms. Cartwright has garnered national attention, being highlighted by Essence Magazine and Black Enterprise Magazine, as well as other national publications and television productions. Tell us all about the Grammys, right? All right. Thank you, Ms. Cartwright, for all you're doing, and please brag on yourself.
Amen. Thank you. Amen. Thank you so much. This is such, it's such an amazing blessing to be honored and just to be celebrated in the community. So you heard a bit of my story. I never dreamed that life would be where it is right now, because when I lost the position as an administrative law judge, it wasn't just the job that I lost. I lost my home, I lost my car. I went from presiding over unemployment hearings to relying upon an unemployment check. And I just thank God for my brother, Arthur Cartwright, who is not able to be here tonight, but he inspired me as well as other African Americans throughout our entire state and throughout this country to take that leap of faith and to start a business. Have a business, something where you own it, you control it, and you can pass it down. I am a firm believer that we as African Americans have to become the change that we want to see. We have to go from leading the nation when it comes to poverty, unemployment, incarceration, and recidivism. We have to be the ones to put things in place so that we can change that narrative and make this community and this entire world a better place for everyone. So that being said, amen. Thank you. And as she alluded to, I am so thankful. I've just returned from LA where Glam Body Scrubs were in the swag bags for the Grammy nominees, for Grammy nominees. They were able to get Glam Body Scrubs, which, before I forget that acronym, GLAM is not just glam, it's GLAM, but it stands for Give Love to All Mankind. So again, we talk about products. These are products with a purpose. In addition to being able to have them in the swag bags for the Grammy nominees, I am headed in a couple of weeks back to LA, where we'll be distributing Glam Body Scrubs for the Oscars as well during Oscar week, where they'll be in the swag bags again, give it to some of the Oscar nominees. So super, super excited about that. But most importantly, again, thankful to be able to provide jobs, training, and mentorship, and bless the least of these. Again, for the women, those who have been incarcerated, who need a new lease on life, to those who have been victims of domestic violence and human trafficking. That is the why behind what I do and why I do it, and it is for that reason I am so eternally grateful to receive this recognition tonight. Thank you all so very much.
The word excellence in the African American community, we like to lead with a spirit of excellence. So thank you again, Ms. Ebony Bagley and Ms. Tiffany Cartwright. I want to bring up Commissioner Yolanda Charles.
I'm going to ask for Ms. Brigitte Hall to come on up to the lectern. While she's doing that, I'm going to take a little privilege and say you can find Michigan Liberation on Facebook, and you can go follow them right now. For more than a decade, Ms. Hall has led her Royal Oak Township community to a path of social justice and racial equity as president of Friends of Royal Oak Township, Incorporated. Through culturally competent programming such as urban agriculture, health and wellness, as well as history, The nonprofit, volunteer-driven organizations, the Truth Towards Reconciliation campaign brought light to the systemic disenfranchisement of Royal Oak Township historically. So I am going to give the microphone over to you so you could tell us a little bit more about your story and what makes Royal Oak Township special.
Well, thank you guys. I am, first of all, honored and privileged to receive this award. As she mentioned, I am a lifelong resident of Royal Oak Township. Royal Oak Township is near and dear to my heart, and that's what spearheaded the Friends of Royal Oak Township organization. But first about myself. So this award is twofold in terms of a recognition. It's a recognition for myself because I always look for Black excellence in myself. I've done that in the community through working for the school district and receiving tenure in the school district, the local school district. I've worked as an elected official in Royal Oak Township for the library board, promoting literacy. I am a continual advocate in Royal Oak Township, and also I have excelled myself in terms of receiving higher education, master's in business, so I'm excited about that. But the other thing is I'm excited to be able to be here representing Royal Oak Township's family, children, and youth. I'm always looking to see how we can promote Royal Oak Township. I also want to uplift the elected officials in Royal Oak Township. And it's not, the community is what pushed me forward, right? Growing up in Royal Oak Township, the leadership, the Black leadership, our teachers, they taught me at an early age to want Black excellence and to achieve Black excellence. So this award right here is just awesome to me, to be able to reach all the way to Royal Oak Township, which has been disenfranchised over the years, to reach all the way to Royal Oak Township and honor myself with the Black Excellence Award. So just a little bit about Friends of Royal Oak Township. Friends of Royal Oak Township started in 2010. Also have my co-founder here, Baba Sheikh, who has also been very instrumental in moving the organization forward and setting the groundwork for what we're here today doing. So Friends of Royal Oak Township, our 4 pillars are, as mentioned, health and wellness, urban agriculture, culture promotion, and historical preservation. And we've gotten all of those pillars up and going. The Truth Towards Reconciliation, the history preservation, the history pillar took a little longer, but we did get that up and going. And now we're working with affiliates of the annexed lands from Royal Oak Township. So Royal Oak Township, as some of you all may know, was a 36 square mile plot of land, which is now down to a 0.55 square mile. And so out of that 36 square miles, 10 communities came out of that. Those 10 communities are now affiliates with our Truth Towards Reconciliation project, the Vision, Journey, and Voices of Historic Royal Oak Township. And that project is going to tell the story of how the community was annexed off and how we're ending up where we are now. But we're just going down and talking to elders, and we're talking to people who lived, worked, or attended school in the 36 square miles, so they can tell their story. It's more than just Royal Oak Township's story, it's South Oakland County's story, so that we can get to the truth of the matter and learn where we can go moving forward. So with that being said, I'm so thankful to be here, being recognized with all of the nominees. I'm hearing wonderful, great things about Black excellence, and so I thank you all, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, and also would like to share with you that we do have a website. We're working on a project. We're doing lots of good work in Royal Oak Township. Our website is going to be www.FORAOT.org, which is the acronym of Friends of Royal Oak Township. Thank you so much.
Last and certainly not least, I'd like to invite up Miss Tia Marie Sanders. Welcome. We're so happy to have you here. And I'm excited to share, and I also have my the commissioner representing where Ms. Sanders lives standing with me today, Mr. Newly minted Commissioner Ajay Raman. Miss Marie Sanders, has made it her life's work to ensure that no child goes hungry, that Black history be taught in all places, and that communities are built to empower their most vulnerable. A resident of Novi, she expanded the reach of her community's Feed the Need program and guided it through the pandemic. The program provides free access to food, education, and activities during the summer months to families in Novi and the surrounding communities.
Ms. Sanders also helped organize and advocate for residents on the verge of losing their housing based on experience with her own health struggles and fought for Michigan workers to raise the minimum wage and provide paid sick time. She has served as the vice president of the Novi Educational Foundation and is a board member of several other organizations. 29 to be exact. So it's an honor and a privilege, and I'm so proud to be here standing next to you. I've known you for years, and it's so emotional to me because you've done so much for the community, and it just blows me away. One of the hardest working people I've met that's truly passionate about everything she does, representing especially the voices that often go unheard and making sure that everybody has a voice in the community. So with that, thank you so much.
Now y'all done messed up and gave me a mic. So first of all, I thank both of you. It came as a complete surprise because I just did not know. But I will have to say that my real introduction to the politics side of things is from Ms. Gwen Markham, who literally puts up with my late night calls. I think I just gave her one like at 6 o'clock the other morning. I am grateful for my community partnerships. Oakland Forward, shout out. Tamika Ramsey, like she already knows that we are all like, you know. Michigan Liberation, you guys, my friends there, have been just amazing. I am not who I am other than the people who have been brave enough to collaborate with me, who have been leaders in sharing their excellence, sharing their knowledge with me. I came into this as like a baby new woke activist, right? Like I was a straight up new woke activist. It's like, we can fix everything, just love everybody. And it took a little bit more than love, okay? It was not enough to just love on people. We had to actually go back to where the root of these issues and the disparities actually took place. And to me, when I think about racism and how it shows up in the community, it has been through profit, property, and through policy. And as we all work, every single one of us, every person touched by any aspect of our society, all of us are responsible for making sure that we ensure that everybody has the ability to thrive. When I first came into Novi, for example, even I grew up in Southfield, but when I came to Novi, I was just a newly divorced mom with 2 little girls, my 2 daughters, Taylor and Cameron, who I'm very, very proud of. They are exact little mini me's. So if you like what you get here, there's 2 more right behind me, okay? But when we first came to Novi, I realized that there were like no services for people who were like low income, or people who were struggling, or single parent households, or people who had disabilities. The city was really designed for like a full-on mom-dad family with like over $300,000 in the bank account and houses that were bigger than I could imagine, and it really just left a gap. And so for me, the first group I had was our little mommy group that was at my apartment, and we would help each other pick up each other's kids from like the bus and after school. And that actually was what spearheaded the Feed the Need program. Fast forward several years later, from 2006 to now, I now have my own nonprofit, which is the Tia Marie Sanders Foundation. We do everything from Saturday school. We help other programs to get the funding that they need to thrive, because what I also am very grateful to from Gwen Markham has been helping me to find the funding. When we think about how policy happens, it does not happen by osmosis. You need funding. Let me say that one more time. You need funding and people to believe in what you're trying to do strong enough to support you to get to the sustainability of it. So that is where our commissioners have been just amazing, and I'm very grateful for all of them. I also want to thank my family who's also watching on YouTube and who are here with me, and to one of my other, I would just have to say Bev is one of my other really sweet community supporters. She has just been one of the people who've invested in not just me, but in the projects that I want to spearhead when I have not a dollar to do it. I have just a dream and a hope that we can actually change lives. And to my best friend, Damon Brown, who is also in the audience right there. And to my dad, I lost my moms in 2012, my mom, my stepmom, and my biological mom and my stepdad, all within 8 months, and my brother. And so it's really just been my dad, Nate Sanders, can I just say that one more time? Nate Sanders, who really gets all of the glory from me, because my dad put up with a very troubled teen who was all of this at 15, and who loved me and inspired me and held me accountable. So everything that I have been able to do has been because of my really strong family support and community support. And I also just want to say that this award goes to my community, where I have gotten the late night calls for my friends and people in the neighborhood who could not speak up for themselves, could not fight for themselves, because it is terrifying to get in front and fight. There's retaliation. It is not a good space. Most of the time I'm at a podium, it is not for an award. It is actually usually adversarial. It's not always great, and a lot of folks are not happy to hear us come marching with our picket signs and what have you. So this award means everything. Please support your activists. We're broke. We give every penny. We give every penny, okay? Support your activists. Love on them. Remind them to sleep. Remind them to have family time. Sometimes tell them that you got it so they don't have to, because it is not an easy job. I am so grateful for the other women that are in this category with me who have, literally, I bow down to all of you because, again, I'm baby new woke. So I just really appreciate you all literally creating a path for people like me. I thank you to my community. Thank you to my family. Love y'all. Blue hearts. There you go.
There we go. Let's give another hand for all our awardees today. A reminder of the great leadership we have in this county, and a great tribute to Black History Month. Next up, we have a presentation from our partners in the mental health space, the Oakland Community Health Network. And so, if I may, I know there may be some people who have to leave. If we can keep conversations to a minimum and carry them outside the chamber. But I'd like to invite the team from OCHN. Yeah, if we're trying to get contact information stuff, can we take that out of the chamber so we can conduct our business here? We have the CEO of Oakland Community Health Network, Dana Lansby, with us today to give us an update on our continued partnership of addressing, and ever more important than ever before, the mental health needs of our community, and your leadership and your team. Welcome. Thank you, Dana, for being with us today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here today. I didn't know we were going to get that amazing presentation recognizing Black excellence. So I would say this is a little hard to follow, but I will try. And it connects. It really does connect to the work we're trying to do. And in a few weeks, I believe you will get our needs assessment survey. Please fill it out, because part of what we heard already from the people that were recognized is the need of the community, and that's our job. Our job is to be the safety net for the community. So I've met with a few of you one-to-one, and I got a sense that you don't really know what we do. So I want to make it really clear and just give you the basics of who we are, what we do. You do have a copy of my report in a folder, I believe. I hope you all have it. And so that's my report that I would normally give quarterly, but I just wanted to give you a few insights into what Oakland Community Health Network is about and what we do for the community. So bear with me, I'll try to do this clicker thing as I speak. One of the big accomplishments is we are recognized by a national accreditation managed behavioral health organization, which is recognized across the country. Oh, I'm sorry. So I talk in a lot of acronyms. We use a lot of letters, so I'll try to make sure I'm clear in that. So NCQA is the National Committee for Quality Accreditation or Assurance. And so we are a PIHP, which is a prepaid inpatient health plan for the state, and we are also a CMHSP, which is a community mental health specialty program. So we are primarily funded by the state with Medicaid funding. So as a safety net, we're responsible for providing services for people with mental health challenges, people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We also address substance use disorders and the whole range of mental health conditions as well. So our mission is really to inspire hope, empower people, and strengthen communities. So I'm really going to talk about how we do that and why the partnerships that we have with this council and board are so important to the work that we do in Oakland County. So we have a strategic focus, and what we try to do is align our strategic focus with what the needs are in the community, but also what the state has guided us to based on what we're seeing across the country, but more importantly within the state, but also within Oakland County. So we're one of 10. But why we're so important at the local level is we address the needs of Oakland County specifically as it relates to mental health services or behavioral health services. So we do a lot of strategic planning, but for me as the leader of the organization, it's really critical that we see outcomes. So we can design a lot of programs, but if we don't see the change or we don't see outcomes for the people we're responsible for serving, that's a problem. So I'm a visual person, so I'll explain it to you in ways that hopefully you can see our vision as well, and we'll share in that. So what I'll say is that in our service delivery, and here's some of the things that break us up as a CMHSP and a PIHP, but I won't spend a lot of time on that. But what I will say is our real mission is to expand crisis services. I think we hear about something going on in our community every single day as it relates to behavioral health or mental health service needs that people in the community have. So as the network provider of providers, we actually have to make sure that we're addressing those needs and expanding those services. So often we look at it as one piece of the crisis services. You have Common Ground, which is actually on this campus. Common Ground is one of our providers of crisis services. But in order for crisis to be really effective, you have to also have other parts of the service delivery system in place. So the way that we do that is, yes, we have Common Ground, who responds to crisis, and is also a walk-in crisis center right on this campus. But we just recently opened a children's crisis unit in the same building at the Resource and Crisis Center, which is available to families across the county to come for support. When they have a loved one or a young person, it's a youth and family, it's very new, Care Connection. And when you have a young person who is experiencing a mental health crisis or challenge, that new unit is available 24/7. So there also are 8 beds in that unit for youth who are in need. And what's important about that is that families will not have to wait any longer in the ED. We really want to have our families in a place where they can go and get the services and supports that they need. And so if need be, families can also have their loved one, their youth, be there to start treatment for 72 hours before the determination of what's next in terms of their care. So that's really critical in terms of having a vision, having to work on that area of crisis expansion, but also seeing the work and seeing that we opened this unit, I believe it's before the holidays, and we opened this unit and we're already seeing and helping families. The other thing I'll say is expanding access to services. Many people don't know who we are and what we do. So one of the big things we have to do is go where people are and go where the need is. So we have done that in the last 3 years that I've been there, is just really making sure we get the word out, the phone numbers out there, so people know who to call, when to call, and to get that face-to-face service that they may need. So I just came back from DC, and they're having a county conference on community mental health. And one of the biggest things is having people understand who to call, when to call, and be available to go there when they need our support and assistance. So I know this council, this board is very committed to doing that, and I really appreciate the support we've received in making those things happen. In front of you are the names of our providers within our network, but we actually have over 200 service providers that we contract with to make sure that we're providing services for the individuals we're responsible for. So often we think about these providers in single, but it takes the whole team to work together to make sure that we're providing services and getting good outcomes for people. So again, in crisis services, just to talk a little more about that, that crisis service unit does more than just take in people and assess them and send them away. They actually have services that are available there, and we look at our services through a different lens. We look at it to see if someone has a routine need. They can call us anytime to be connected with one of the providers. We also look at to see if there's an urgent need where somebody really needs to be seen. They don't need a high level of care, but they really need to talk to somebody sooner rather than later. The other thing is emergency services, which we call crisis services, and that means somebody needs to be seen now. They're a danger to themselves or others, and they really don't understand their need for treatment. So that crisis center or that crisis level of care makes sure that we have someone available through our mobile crisis unit, through the unit at Common Ground, as well as going out into the community and addressing the need where the person is. So when I talk about access, we want to prevent crisis. Many people don't think crisis can be prevented, but when you have a full continuum of care, which we try to present and support, you can prevent crisis. You can intervene early. You can also make sure the person recovers and is on a path of recovery and having a healthy life. We also have a mobile crisis unit for youth, which is really critical to those families that are struggling to help their loved one with a mental health condition, and they need that support. Also, our screening and access. So everybody doesn't present with a crisis, right? But some people just want someone to talk to. They realize there are some things that they need assistance with. So that access team that works for us is actually available 8 to 8, Monday through Friday, and we're looking at extending that. And so we're in an office building, right, where people can walk in, but we want to make sure that the access services are in the community where people have a need. So we've been looking at ways to be present at certain events, but also looking at areas in the community where we can set up our teams to make sure that people have a need, they can immediately be set up and receive services with one of our providers. Justice initiatives. It was so great to see the Federation, I believe it's called, talk about helping individuals when they're returning to the community. What our justice system initiatives does really is about jail diversion. So instead of having individuals go to jail or be arrested, they are able to get the services and supports they need to address their mental health condition, a substance use disorder, or anything in between. Because often we know it's not about somebody who's a bad person. Many times they need help. We also have co-responders and the crisis intervention team training, which is really what our law enforcement community partnerships. So with the co-responder, there's a mental health professional that is able to go out with the law enforcement or the officers when there's a need and there's an indication that the person has a mental health condition. We need more, but that's a whole nother conversation. We have quite a few, but we definitely need more. And we need more across those communities that we know are having a larger need than others. And I'll say with the crisis intervention team, it's a 40-hour training with law enforcement officers. So we can't expect our law enforcement officers or police officers to be social workers and psychologists, but we can support them when they encounter somebody who is having a mental health crisis. And so that training has been phenomenal. And to date, in Oakland County, we've trained almost 1,000 officers to be a part of a crisis intervention team. We are solution focused. So when we see all the things happening in our community, we take the initiative to go to those communities and offer our services and supports. And it's not just Oakland Community Health Network alone. That list of providers stands up and we work together to make sure that we're addressing needs when they exist. It's sad to say, again, we see Michigan State University. When we see things like that, we want to be able to help. We want to be able to be there to support that community. And so with those things come other programs and supports so that individuals don't heal in a day. But when they're ready to get those services and supports, we want to make sure that we're there. So we are so thankful for our mental health program, our School Navigator mental health program, and we know we need to get the word out more. We definitely know there are families in need that could benefit from those services. And also with the Oxford mental health benefit as well, has been very beneficial and has already served over 195 families. So we want to continue those type of supports and services when the need has been identified. And so I will answer any questions.
Well, thank you very much, Dana, for that update and the information and reminder of all the services you do, and we very much appreciate our continued partnership. We got time for a couple questions. If commissioners have any questions for, we'll start with Commissioner Powell, then Commissioner Charles.
I just wanted to bring attention to Christine Burke in our meeting, who works for OCHN also, just to let commissioners know, I think the 988, if y'all didn't know, now they're encouraging us to, it's live, and now we can refer people to go there for their mental health. And if that is correct, can you confirm that? Yep,
Yes.
so 988.
Yes.
To my colleagues, let's spread the word, and as soon as they get print materials, I have requested that they do share with our staff to share with us, because I'm big on all of us being on the same message and putting out the same information, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Charles.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Commissioner Powell kind of answered it, and the part two was, is it 24 hours, the 988, as opposed to the non-emergency, which is 8 to 8?
Yes. The crisis number 988 is available 24/7.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Well, let it be said that our CEO at OCHN, Dana Lazenby, is always responsive to us. A conversation around transit that she and I have already had about, that we're going to continue to help better meet the needs of the clients that they serve. And I know you all have her number, but I think this update is really important so that we can further strengthen our partnership and, most importantly, take care of our residents. So thank you very much, Dana. Okay, I think that will now bring us on to communications. And if the clerk can read the communications.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There are 5 communications dated, the first dated February 13th. Dear Chairman Woodward, pursuant to 2003 Public Act 281, Section 9A, please be advised that I hereby appoint Madia Tariq as Deputy Executive. This appointment is effective on February 13th, 2023. Madia has impressive experience in public health and truly understands the factors in the community that impact health. She will be a great addition to my leadership team. On behalf of myself, Madia, and my entire team, we look forward to working closely with the Board of Commissioners this year and beyond. Sincerely, David Coulter, Oakland County Executive. Secondly, dated February 3rd, 2023, Dear Chairman Woodward, since its start in 2001, the Brownfield program has proven to be a program that will have a lasting legacy in Oakland County. At its core, the Brownfield program seeks to improve the quality of life for the citizens of Oakland County by protecting the unique environmental features of the county. It also allows redevelopment of our cities and lands. The Brownfield program ensures the development of sustainable communities through remediation and reinvesting in contaminated and abandoned properties. by increasing the local tax bases, facilitating job growth, and utilizing existing infrastructure. The program breathes life back into our community. In accordance with the Brownfield Redevelopment Financing Act, I have officially authorized the reappointment of Ann Jameson, Brett Rasigan, Michael Spiz, Grant Trigger, Peter Webster, and David Woodward to the terms listed below to the Oakland County Brownfield Redevelopment Authority Board of Directors. For one-year terms, David Woodward, Michael Spiz. For 1 2-year term, Ann Jameson. And for a 3-year term, Brett Rasigan, Grant Trigger, and Peter Webster. Ladies and gentlemen of the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, please confirm these appointments to the Oakland County Brownfield Redevelopment Authority Board of Directors. It is with your approval that the Brownfield Board of Directors will continue to pave the way for redevelopment efforts and preservation of green space throughout Oakland County. Sincerely, David Coulter, Oakland County Executive. Third, dated February 15th, 2023. Dear Mr. Woodward, please be advised that pursuant to Miscellaneous Resolution 21477, the Economic Development Department appoints myself as representative and Tim Colbeck as alternate representative to the Tax Increment Financing District Ad Hoc Review Committee for the 2023-2024 term. Sincerely, Brett Rasigan, Manager, Planning and Local Business Development. Dated February 16th, 2023, to the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, please accept this letter as notification that I am appointing Commissioner Marcia Gershenson to the Healthy Aging Oakland County Ad Hoc Committee. Sincerely, David T. Woodward, Chairman, Oakland County Board of Commissioners. And finally, dated February 22nd, 2023, to the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, please accept this letter as notification that I have exercised the authority granted to the Chair of the Board to approve grant applications in excess of $50,000 for the purposes of meeting a submission deadline. Due to the grantor deadlines and the board's grant submission process and calendar, it is not possible to submit the application for full board consideration in accordance with our normal procedures. I have authorized the submission of the following grant applications. The Eagle Dam Risk Reduction Program for the Parks and Recreation Commission in the amount of $1 million. The grant application deadline was January 31st, 2023. The fiscal year 2023 Local Law Enforcement Crime Gun Intelligence Center Integration Initiative to the Sheriff's Office in the amount of $696,303. The grant application deadline was February 13th, 2023. And finally, the Pontiac Integrated Urgent Care for the Department of Health and Human Services in the amount of $5 million. The grant application deadline was February 3rd, 2023. Sincerely, David T. Woodward, Chairman, Oakland County Board of Commissioners.
That's what happens when there's a 3-week gap between our meetings. Is there a motion to receive the communications? Moved by Gingell, seconded by Cavell. Any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, will you please prompt the vote to receive the communications?
Commissioner Markham votes aye. Mr. Chair, you have 17 yeas, 0 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The communications are received. That will move us to the first public comment of tonight's meeting. This is an opportunity for members of the public to comment on any items that are on the agenda. I've asked some folks, there was a sign-up sheet up there, but I'll go through those first, and then if anybody else wants to say something, please just come to the podium and after I recognize you. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Direct your comments to me, the chair, and I will start with Teresa Rich. If you could state your home community. Welcome.
Good evening. I think Garland Gilchrist was here last. Hi, everyone. My name is Teresa Rich. I'm Vice Chair of the Oakland Schools Board of Education, and I am so happy to be here with you tonight to give public comment. Now, I'm a school board member, so I know how public comment goes, and before anybody starts shaking in your boots, know that this is a public comment. Thank you. So why am I thanking you? Next vote is going to be on the consent agenda, and I am so thrilled to see elimination of financial burden of reduced price meals for students in Oakland County. It's a lot of words. In our county, we have 5,500 kids, 5,500 kids whose community or families are not poor enough to get free meals, and they're not wealthy enough to be able to afford the copay for reduced meals. Oftentimes, these kids have an account balance, and here's what happens. They go through the line. And some well-intentioned person, because this is what their job is, says, "Oh, Teresa, I'm sorry, you have a balance. So I get the lunch of shame. It might be a cheese sandwich, might be Cheerios." But every school day in our county, this happens to some of our kids. Now, I'm going to tell you this is personal. In middle school, I was one of those kids. I had the pink lunch tickets. Everybody else had the yellow lunch tickets. And every day, I was destroyed a little bit inside. And it definitely got in the way of my maybe being the best student I could have been. It might have caused a little trouble in those years. Don't tell my kids. It doesn't have to be that way, folks. During the pandemic, there was funding, so all kids had breakfast and lunch, regardless of income. That ended June 30th, and the federal attempts to keep it moving failed. So last fall, we put together a task force with reps from Oakland schools. Commissioner Gershenson, assisted by so many good people here in the county, Patty Dibb, Michael Keith, Michael Andrews, Melanie Grund from Executive Coulter's office. And we've put together a proposal that's coming forward. Now, we're delighted to see what's coming in the governor's budget, but this is a today problem that needs a today solution. So when you vote on this proposal, please know you're voting for 5,500 kids, and we are going, at Oakland Schools, going to be administering it starting March 1st. So I'm going to sit back there calmly and watch you vote, but I'm going to tell you, middle school Teresa's going to be going woohoo while you do it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Rich. Next up, I got Fred Cummins, followed by Robert Pulaski. Welcome, sir.
Hi, I'm Fred Cummins. I'm president of the Alliance for the Mentally Ill of Oakland County, a long-term advocate since my daughter became seriously mentally ill in the early 1980s. I've been advocating for changes to the system. I want to say that I'm here because I heard that Dana Lesenbeef was going to be talking about the mental health system in Oakland County, and I want to say that they're doing the best they can given what they have to work with. But that's a serious problem, and my focus is on changing the system in the state, across the state, for changes in the system. You have a handout here. The first page is basically just about me and why I'm here and what I do. The next page is a list of 14 changes that I'm proposing to change the system at the state level. And these are, in a way, they're basic good business system changes. A lot of them have to do with changing, reducing the costs of the system, not the cost in terms of services, but the cost of other aspects like duplication of information systems across the state. Every CMH has a different system, and it's all duplicate. It's bad business. One of the other things at the top of the list is the state has the ability to get a waiver to provide Medicaid services or Medicaid funding for state hospitals. That's available across the nation. A lot of states have taken advantage of that. Michigan has never taken advantage of that, which is a big part of the reason that we don't have as many state hospitals as we need, and the local hospitals are dealing with much more than they can handle longer term than they have people in and out of the hospital because there's no place to go elsewhere. So there's a lot of things like that. A big reason I'm here is because they're doing a good job here, but they can't do the real job that needs to be done here and across the state, and they need your advocacy. It's hard for them to talk to their bosses and say, we need more, we need to do these, and we need all these changes. These changes are things that have to happen in the state. And they need your advocacy as long as my small voice to get some changes. So here's a list. I think it's a good list. It's a big list, but there's some big changes here that have to do with saving basic cost of doing business, but yet doing it a lot better. And there are things having to do with doing a lot better. For example, providing services to all the people who need them, not just the people who are Medicaid eligible and in crisis.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I know that you had wanted to share that with commissioners, and I can assure you that copies have been made and will be put in the mailboxes of all commissioners.
So I had copies
So
of all.
everything, yep, everything will be there. Thank you. Next up, Robert Pulowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, everyone. My name is Robert Pulowski, and I'm from Southgate and Wayne County. I'm actually up here today on other business that I'll be presenting during the second public comment period. But this was kind of last minute because this one actually hit me personally. So today I'd like to come in to basically recognize the Communications Award for the presentations. One of the people that sticks out in my mind and helped us a lot during our transit campaign, but most of all, she got it started, was Tamika Ramsey. She was the one that started it all, and then it progressed from there. Working with organizations like Oakland Forward, Transportation Riders United, and DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, we all worked together, and we all, with the bipartisanship of both Democrats and Republicans, we passed a full-on countywide millage in Oakland County. It is a huge step, and it's not just regardless of the organizations and where they stand. We had a lot of Republicans and we had a lot of Democrats in this race, campaigning for us regardless of where the party stands are with our organizations. We got a lot done, and with the people that are presenting our interlocal agreement with Suburban Mobility Authority for Regional Transit, it's just the further step that we are just moving forward. We are moving in the right direction. Oakland County is the growing region of this entire state. You guys are following the right footsteps, and you guys are the #1 county in Michigan for putting the right investments towards economic development. Regardless, to recognize Ebony Bagley, Tiffany Cartwright, Bridget Hall, and Tia Marie Sanders, they are all truly leaders for Oakland County. On my way into the Board of Commissioners this morning, one thing that stuck out in my mind, there was a sign that said, Oakland County, always moving forward. You guys live out to that statement. You guys are always moving forward, and you guys are doing the right investments. Oakland County is the place to be, and it's time to make a change. Oakland County is the future. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you for the commercial. Is there anybody else that wants to speak during public comment? No one? No one? Okay. I will close the first public comment. There'll be a second public comment at the end of the meeting on any other topic or any topic that people want to address. This will move us to reports of standing committees, and the first order of business is the consent agenda. Can I get a motion for the consent agenda? Moved by Commissioner Gingell, seconded by Commissioner Loops. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda? Just one thing I wanted to bring attention to, and I think the last speaker brought attention to, the initial contracts for our transit millage to spend the resources that were approved by voters for the transit millage are on here with 4 agencies that have been providing critical transit services to those in need. It represents not only a fulfillment of promises that this board has made, but it also represents the greatest investment in public transportation in county history. This couldn't be possible if not for the hard work of the staff across Oakland County. I want to give a shout out to Chief Deputy Hillary Chambers, who helped lead the effort on the staff side, but her team of Brett Razigan, Kristen Wilfang, our Corp Council leaders with Aaron Thomas and Bill Diabasi, who I think just had to step aside. They were given a task that in 45 days, get contracts in place so that we can move these dollars as soon as the dollars became available to be used. And they not only hit that task, but I think in these agreements represent a huge investment going forward to not only increase access, provide funding for additional routes, and really lays the foundation that we are able to build on not only over this year, but over the next decade. So I want to bring attention to that and say thank you for everyone who put their work onto it. Any other discussion on the consent agenda as a whole? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, can we please prompt the vote?
Mr. Chair, there are 17 yeas, 0 nays.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the consent agenda is adopted. This will move us to the regular agenda, and first up, I'll call on the chair, Commissioner Gary McGilvery, to bring up the 2 items under the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item number 13A is from the Lago Committee. Mr. Chairman, I would move the recommendation of the Lago Committee to concur with the county executive appointment of Sunil Azija as Director of Human Resource.
Moved by Commissioner McGilvery, seconded by Commissioner Hoffman. Is there any discussion about the appointment? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
I would move the recommendation of the Lago Committee with the appointment of Jonathan Landsman.
Oh, wait, just one second. We got to do the vote for the last one.
I'm sorry.
You're on the game. Moved by Commissioner McGilvery, moved it, seconded by Commissioner Hoffman. And you might need to record a voice vote for Commissioner McGilvery.
Mr. Chair, there are 16 yeas, 0 nays.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the appointment is confirmed. Commissioner McGilvery.
Mr. Chairman, the Legislative and Affairs and Government Operations Committee recommends the following action, which is to concur with the recommendation of Jonathan Landsman, Sarah May as representative of the general public, and Christina Root as a representative of agencies and occupations having working involvement with the mental health services. I would move the foregoing resolution.
Commissioner McGilvery moves the appointment, seconded by Commissioner Lubes. Any discussion on these appointments to the Oakland Community Health Network? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Commissioner Weipert? Commissioner Weipert votes aye. Mr. Chair, you have 16 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There are 2 items from the Public Health and Safety Committee. The first is a resolution from the Animal Shelter and Pet Adoption Center for staffing positions to create additional positions. Along with that is an amendment to the title of the resolution to add in the words "Resolution Appropriating American Rescue Plan Act Local Fiscal Recovery Funds for Staffing Modifications Positions Creation." Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect that the amendment is adopted unanimously. Brings us back to the main motion. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Chair, there are 16 yeas, 0 nays.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the resolution is adopted. Commissioner Loops.
Thank you. The next resolution is from the Sheriff's Office appropriating additional funding for purposes of executing a new contract to provide inmate food services at the Oakland County Jail.
Moved by Commissioner Lubes, seconded by Commissioner McGilvery. Any discussion? I think there was lengthy discussion in both committees on this. We have the draft contract that's included. We modified the terms, and we'll continue to monitor that going forward. So unless there's any further discussion, we will I'll ask the clerk to prompt the vote.
Mr. Chair, there are 15 yeas, 1 nay.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the resolution is adopted. Commissioner Lubes.
That concludes my report, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I believe that all other items were taken up under the consent agenda. And this will bring us to new and miscellaneous business. I believe there's one item here with a request to suspend the rules. This was Commissioner Miller? Yeah, thank you. Commissioner Miller, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
People are in different spots, so I know.
As Director Board Member at Large for MAC, I'm pleased to bring this resolution honoring the Michigan Association of Counties on its 121st anniversary, requesting to suspend the rules of the board rules, immediate consideration under new business.
Fantastic. Commissioner Miller moves to suspend the rules, seconded by Commissioner Spiz. All in favor of suspending the rules, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect that the rules have been suspended unanimously. And Commissioner Miller moves, seconded by Commissioner Spiz, to move the resolution. Any discussion? It's a pretty self-explanatory resolution. Had an opportunity in Washington to hang out with some members from the Michigan Association of Counties, and I know they'll be very happy to see Oakland County recognize their 125 years of service. Mr. Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Mr. Chair, there are 16 yeas, 0 nays.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the resolution is adopted. I don't believe there's any additional new or miscellaneous business, so I'll move us to announcement. Any announcements? Seeing, Commissioner Gershenson.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank my fellow commissioners for supporting the meal program so that 5,500 of our kids will have breakfast and lunch. And Teresa Rich thanked our staff. I want to double that thanks to both Michaels and Patty Dibb for their support. And a special thank you to Lori Atkins, who is from Oakland Intermediate Schools. And I also want to give a shout out to Representative Haley Stevens, who is our liaison in Congress. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Lubes, followed by Commissioner Miller.
I wanted to thank everyone in the Clawson and surrounding communities in Oakland County for their commitment and support for Alex Verner, who lost her life at the Michigan State shootings this last week. We had 2 candlelight vigils that were well attended. We'll be accepting donations for a scholarship in Alex's name. We're selling lawn signs and window clings and T-shirts, again for the scholarship fund. And her funeral visitation is tomorrow from 4 to 8 at Guardian Angels Church, and the funeral mass is on Saturday morning. But thank you to everyone for your thoughts and your prayers, and I, like anybody else, will say this just can't continue, and we need to do something different. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yes.
Commissioner Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just pleased to say that today the Senate passed the repeal of the pension tax. Unfortunately, it doesn't go to immediate effect, so look for that next year, March 1st, April 1st time, for all the retirees that will benefit from that.
Thank you. Commissioner Charles.
Yeah, Chair, thank you. I was wondering if Mr. Hoffman or Mr. Miller were going to say anything, but 2 of your commissioners had birthdays this month. One is Miss Kristen Nelson, if I'm not mistaken. Give us a wave, Kristen. And I believe me has a birthday also in the next couple of weeks. So just want to shout out those February babies.
The Aquarius. Are you all Aquarius?
Yes.
Oh, no, sorry. Oh, I see. My dad's birthday is today, which is a reminder I need to call Dad. Any other announcements? Commissioner Powell.
I just want to announce that I'll be co-hosting a Pontiac Resource Fair that focuses on information for current and future homeowners. I'm joining community activist Norbert Burroughs, who professionally is a realtor, but his nonprofit that I'm partnering with is I Am the Village Foundation. And it will be February 18th, this Saturday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Bowen Senior Center. 52 Bagley Street, Pontiac, Michigan, 48341. It does ask for people to register, but if not, just show up and come get this information. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Cavell.
On Saturday, February 25th, I'll be participating in the Progressive Organizing Summit at Birmingham Unitarian Church. It's being put together, I'm helping put together this with Sierra Club, Beyond Coal Campaign, AFL-CIO, League of Conservation Voters, and several others. I'd love to tell you all more if you want to be there. It's 9 to 1, and we might have a special guest speaker. So, all right.
I'll be there. Thank you very much. Is there any other announcements? See none, we'll move on to our second public comment, our last public comment. I guess I want same rules as before. I'll call on Robert Pulowski. Again, welcome back. And
Okay, now here comes the official business.
Yeah.
So, good evening, Robert Pulowski, Southgate, Wayne County. I'm here representing the Wayne County Youth Commission, or Wayne County Commission Youth Council, representing District 15, Wayne County Commissioner Joseph Palomera. Today is the day that I did promise Chairman Woodward that we are going to get some people to come to our meeting. I just got the approval from staff, and it is long overdue. I wanted you guys to come to our January meeting, but unfortunately with conflicts in my schedule, I wasn't able to make it up and deliver this. But all county commissioners, administration, and staff are welcome to our meeting this next Thursday. Let me pull out the date. I don't have it locked in. The date is February 23rd, 2023, over Zoom at 6 p.m. Our meetings run from about 6 to 7:30, so I'll make sure to get you guys in there to observe our meeting, because I know there's been constant conversations about a youth council up here. I love the idea, but I want to see more people, especially our youth, get involved. So that's kind of why I'm here today, and also to really shine some light that we also, our youth, especially at Michigan State University, and what they endured over Monday is just a sign that, Our state is falling apart, and we need more youth to stand up, whether the party politics are. And that's where a youth council comes in, to make our voices heard from both sides. So I encourage all commissioners, staff, county executive staff to join our meeting on February 23rd, 2023 at 6 p.m. via Zoom. I will be providing a link and forwarding our link that is forwarded from my staff to you guys around Monday, between Monday and Wednesday next week. Make sure to check your email from Megan Staples. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else that wants to speak during the second public comment? Seeing none. I look forward to participating. Send a message to Commissioner Joey Palomara that Oakland County says hello. The chairman says hello.
I'll make sure of it.
Seeing no other further public comment, we'll consider public comment closed, and that will bring us to the last item, which is the simple thing, adjournment to March 2nd, 2023, or call of the chair.